The Bay Area's rock station, 107.7 The Bone.
Dave Mustaine, Megadeth, you have done a million things and now you've finally put them all in a book.
Yeah, I did.
Is it tough being on book tour and rock tour all at the same time?
There's a lot of stuff that's going on. I'm excited to have the interest in the group because it's really good for us. We have a new record out and we're also celebrating the 20th anniversary of Rest in Peace, and so that alone is fun for us. We've had a great tour so far with this summer with Slayer, with Testament, the Big Four stuff, with all the festivals overseas. It just seems the pendulum is just swinging my way no matter which way it goes. Everything is just... I saw somebody said something that when have they ever seen every single card land my way, and it's like, I don't know that it ever has, and I don't want to jinx it right now, so I'm going to just kind of stay out of it. And it's been really cool, because seeing a lot of friends from the past, people that are coming out that aren't really fans of metal the last 10 years. They just came out because they liked Rest in Peace 20 years ago, and they go, oh my God, I forgot about how great this music was. And of course now they're fat and bald and everything.
And bringing their kids.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, when you get away from the stuff that you love when you're a kid, you tend to forget about it. It's like sometimes when you watch a movie that you loved as a kid, or you watch a show that you used to like, sometimes for me it's kind of weird because I'll watch a show that I used to be completely just engrossed in no matter what, like the Three Stooges. When I was in high school, I used to watch that every day. Me and my friend Mike Jordan would ditch school, and we would go to his house and get stoned, and we would watch the Three Stooges all day long. And of course, that's probably why I ended up leaving high school and going to night school. It just directly contributed to Mo.
Time well spent.
Yeah.
So, with so many irons in the fire, are you the kind of person that is constantly writing things for the future, or do you finally take time to yourself to make the new Megadeth when you get 10?
It's a little bit of both. I guess if I have an idea that comes up, I try and document it, but I'm a guitar player that whenever I pick up the guitar, I'll write something. And since I don't always prepare myself to record when I pick up the guitar, I know as soon as I pick up the guitar, there's going to be something comes out and I won't record it. And it really, in a very ass-backwards way, it keeps me from playing more because, I don't want to create something and not be ready to record it. So here it's cool because, we're in the dressing room, we've got amps and all that kind of stuff. And so if I have a little teeny riff that I come up with, I'm able to tape it. But if I don't tape it, it's just really frustrating. It's like, I swear to God, I caught a fish, it was this big, yeah, right, The problem with when you come up with a riff and you don't tape it is it's almost impossible to remember it. The little nuances of the music are really what makes our songs different is, pushing and pulling on the beat a little bit, rushing apart a little bit, maybe lagging a little bit, all those different things, and the slightest variation can change a riff from something, upbeat to something super heavy and much more darker just by moving the chords around a little bit. So yeah, we work on stuff a lot. I'm not in album mode right now. I'm in tour mode, and right now this tour's been so great. It's like, without being vulgar or anything like this, it's like orgasmic almost. It's really weird. Every day there's just more greatness that happens. Watching the fans come, watching their faces, listening to friends like you coming around and saying, hey, let's talk about the past.
Remember that one time?
Yeah, good to see you again. I'm so glad I'm here. I forgot, this kind of stuff, and that's just a blast for me. Especially when you see some of these people who think they're too cool. They become these personalities, and they come back and they get grounded and they remember what it was all about.
Do you have any fond memories of the Bay Area? People that are coming back around to see you guys tonight?
Well, I had a dinner engagement, but I don't know what happened to that, so I'm not sure that's going to happen. And I know my wife's been talking to another one of the guys from the band, and we were going to get together with them, but I really don't want to talk about that too much. I was looking forward to that because I wanted to talk some more about the Big Four stuff, but as far as the other friends that are up here, I had some friends, but because my last band was really the only people that I knew up here. So we did make some friends and stuff like that, but I don't know where any of them are. You move away and you don't see them. I have seen some people that will come up, and like we did a book signing today, and people were coming up and saying, "Hey, it's me. Hey, can I get in free?"
They always do that, don't they?
They always do that. Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to take your TV. Okay.
I don't know. Where do you work? What can you get me?
See, I don't really mind as much as some people may think that. It's just, I don't mind giving my friends tickets and passes and stuff like that. I actually really enjoy their presence. It's just kind of, sometimes it's a little awkward when you see someone you've never seen before and they come up and they've got their hand out. It's kind of like, how are you? Before how much can you give me?
Well, everybody is really excited about the Big 4 tour that happened and desperately hoping that you will recreate it in the U.S.
Yes, not to me, though.
I'm gathering that everybody's just waiting for Metallica to say, okay, we'll do it. Is it kind of in that?
Well, that's kind of how it was before, but I had to have the conditions right in order for us to leave the tour that we were leaving, because we obviously are doing good business now. In order for us to have gone and do that, we needed to make sure that all the conditions were right for us, and Lars and James made everything comfortable for everybody, and just really, really happy about the way that it all went down. I'm happy our friendship got renewed, and it's just a great time all around right now for me. I can't even, if I wasn't living this, I would say I don't know what to do.
So after the book comes out and you continue to tour for this album, you're one of those guys that has so many irons on the fire. You do charity events, you're constantly updating the fans on the website and the fan club. Do you have like a schedule laid out for you of things that you're going to be putting out and doing? You do. It's really good.
That's my day.
That's just today.
That's just this afternoon. So yeah, we get it broken down to like 15-minute increments sometimes. During the mornings, we have a little bit of private time. Sean, David, and myself will do kind of normal activities and stuff, and Chris goes to the gym for 2 hours, and we all have our things that make us happy. I think the one thing that we do a lot in common is get online and talk back home to our friends and family, but I'm not the one who updates everybody on the website. That's our brilliant webmasters from the fan club and from the official site. They're super busy, and I know David's always sending him stuff because he was always like an ambassador in Megadeth. I would be the guy that always got in trouble, and he was always the guy that would explain away whatever people were pissed off.
Well, you're an opinionated guy, right?
I think that if you have something intelligent to say, yeah. I mean, I don't talk just for the sake of talking.
Well, with one of my favorite things that you did was, I think it was 92 elections that you covered for MTV. Are you still pretty avid in following politics and letting people know your opinions?
I have tried not to say anything right now because I'm so just freaked out about what's happening to our country. I mean, it looks like we're sprinting down the path to socialism, and I don't understand where the American people are right now. You want to impeach a guy for getting a blowjob, yet you have a guy that's destroying our country, and you just let him run rampant. I don't understand that. I know a generation ago that this wouldn't have happened. It seems like we're just, like I said, sprinting towards socialism, and I don't want to be a socialist. I like living in a free America. The idea that if you have a chicken in a democracy, it's your chicken. If you're in socialism, it's everybody's chicken. It's like a communist country, and the idea of the USSRA, you know what I mean? It just doesn't have a good ring to it.
So you're not happy about the healthcare legislation?
I'm not happy about a lot of stuff, but this is more about music and about us having a good time instead of talking about how lost we are. Oh my God! I mean, look at the marketplace right now. This president promised 500,000 new jobs. We have 500,000 less jobs, so he missed that by 1 million. If that would have been dollars, it would have been, you would have had the crazy sound effects in the background. 1 million jobs, and I think, God, how can you be so out of touch with stuff? I read a letter from the vice president of Procter & Gamble a couple of years ago. I can't remember what the guy's name was, but I checked it out on Snopes to verify what it was, and this guy had written this letter, and it was so brilliant. I encourage you to get your listeners and watchers, your viewers, to check out that letter. It's really amazing, and it explains a lot of stuff right now that is very unexplainable, and it raises a lot of really poignant questions, which is why I think you probably liked what I did with the Democratic National Convention. I went and asked the questions that other people were afraid of asking. You know, I don't care if I'm not PC. If you're fat, you're fat. If you're short, you're short. You know, I'm not going to try and think of a way that I can tell somebody something that's not going to help them in the long run. You know, I mean, that's how I've been brought up, to be as transparent as you possibly can be. Now, I don't go around being ruthlessly honest. If someone, for example, when my mother-in-law cooks, I don't tell her how it really is.
You don't tell your mother-in-law if she's fat?
No, she's not fat.
Good.
She definitely is not fat. She's very slender. She's very healthy. They're Dutch, and they're very healthy people. And cooking...
Yeah, the Dutch are socialists, though, aren't they?
I don't think so.
They have like a lot of national stuff. Everything kind of national.
I'm not Dutch, so I don't know. I don't care actually either.
I just like the way that a lot of your political views kind of bleed into the music, and it kind of seems to make for like an extra bite in Megadeth.
If it's the right time to be doing that, I really don't know what to say. So I don't want to encourage our fans or any of, like I said, your listeners or viewers to be getting involved if they don't have a good choice. You know, I mean, the most important thing I would say right now, because I don't know, is for me to educate myself and encourage your fans to do the same thing and find out, where did he go to school? Where did he get his money? You know, come on, just ask some questions.
So with the new book coming out, you're doing book tours and touring at the same time. Are you going to continue doing the book tour? Are you enjoying it as an author?
Well, as an author, that's all new to me, and I had no idea it was going to come right out of the gates and be a New York Times bestseller. That was really a big accomplishment for me. That's like debuting, you know, as a platinum artist, and you know, besides the fact that platinum records are kind of a thing of the past, you know, it's just really, it's interesting right now to see the whole different world, because, you know, most authors, you know, unless it's some tart who's trying to sell an exercise program or something, you know, or somebody selling a diet, you know, most guys that write books look like guys that write books. You know what I mean? And you go up and you meet some of these guys, and they're like, "Yes, I'm this author. My name's Fred," or something like that, and it's like, oh my God, you know. So on one side, I'm a little bit tripped out because I'm being considered an author, and what comes to mind is like, you know, geeks kind of, you know what I mean?
You're not totally identifying with the literary world at this point.
Well, I'm enjoying writing. I think it was really fun. I don't know that I would do it again, because it was a very difficult and laborious process. And writing a book about your life, you don't ever imagine you'd spend $100,000+ on legal fees so that you would get sued telling the story about your life. You know, it's like, but wait, it's my life. I lived it. How can you possibly sue me? And that's just the nature of our country. We've lost sight of the American ideal so much so now that we're just waiting for some poor bastard not to put the lid on the coffee and waiting for it to scald our crotches so that we can sue. You know, that's terrible. I was overseas in this last tour, and I watched a couple traffic accidents, and the difference over there, they get out and make sure no one's dead, and, you know, they just... That's about it. They sometimes exchange information, and they have their insurance take care of it. Over here, I was on the freeway, and I looked down for a second, and I tapped this woman. I was going probably around 5-10 miles an hour. She got out of her car holding her neck, and I was like, oh my God, you mad cow, I can't believe that you're doing this. And then she tells me that her husband's in the Army and all this stuff, and I'm thinking, you're such a disgrace. Your husband's out there willing to lay down his life in Iraq for the American people, and here you're one of the very people who are draining the system. You know, I frankly, you know what? If I hit her hard enough, I would have done anything to take care of her, and I immediately called my insurance, even though I was, you know, there was no damage, you know. And I took a picture of her bumper too. There's nothing. She drove down the road about a mile and pulls over and said her whole car started shaking. And I'm like, oh my God, you liar. So, you know, that's one of those things where you wish you had your pocket taser. But, you know, I left it at home that day.
Well, we can't like everybody in our country. What are you going to do, right? So with Megadeth going full steam, what do you see over the next year, things that you want to get done, things that you want to put out there?
Well, we've just gone through a really trying period. Since October, we've been out here with staff members that, you know, it was kind of like patching a hole with toilet paper, and it just was really, really terrible how it took toll out on all of the crew and how that affects me as the leader out here. I watch my band guys get drawn down. I watch my crew guys get drawn down, and this had been happening since last October. You know, we've had this one position has been held by various people that weren't someone I would have hired. You know, they were picked because we had a hole and needed to fix it fast, and you know, you can't really do a lot of due diligence on somebody when your ass is on fire. You know, so. Right now, we're back to where we're really flowing again. The stage morale and the backstage morale is the same. You know, because when you're on stage, it's euphoric. When you're getting ready, it's kind of like, you know, imagine tying your shoes 100 times like some OCD guy, right? That's how getting ready is for us, because we're just looking at the clock and like, oh my God, hurry. Come on. And all this kind of stuff, and practice song, you do vocal warm-ups, and then you walk around in a circle 6 million times while you're on the phone texting somebody. And it's nutty, but when you get up on that stage, everything else goes away. It's just like the cone of silence and Get Smart. When it works.
So if there's one thing that you want to accomplish in the next year, what would it be?
I think it would probably just be to finish this tour strong and to get ready to go into the studio next year. We've got a lot of stuff that we've been working on with new music, and we've got a lot of songs already completed for the next record. So now the whole thing is going to be, you know, going back and sorry, I got a little cold. Something coming back to songs and saying, hey, are they the level that we want them at now, after going out and doing what we just did and having, you know, the success that we did, seeing how Endgame came out, and seeing how these other opportunities have presented themselves. Are we going to be satisfied with these songs? Do they need a little more, you know, cayenne pepper or something, you know, like that, a little more sugar in some spots, you know? Having Chris in the band, he's only been with us for 2 years, and you know, he was relatively unknown. Yeah, sure, he played with Jack Panzer, but I mean, honestly, he was Jack Panzer. Not very many people know him. You know, he was with Nevermore, but I mean, same thing. It was Nevermore. And they're a good band. I like them, but they're not that popular. You know, and like I said, I like them, so don't start bitching about that. Anyways. You know, for him to get into this group, it was really great because he was able to really express himself. You know, one of the things that we've always done is, even though, you know, it's my band, I try and treat everybody in the band like it's their band. You know, so we all have ownership in the band, not necessarily like dollars and cents stuff, but you feel like, this is my band. If I have a part I want to play, I'm going to talk to Dave, and he's going to listen to me without prejudice. And it's not going to be like, I don't want to listen to your stuff because it's your stuff. I'm Gene Simmons, and I don't want to put any music on the record that I don't like because I'll have to give you some money or something. You know, I know there's some guys are motivated to put records together based on who wrote it. And we had a record that Gene had asked us to do, the Kiss My Ass record. And you can even hear it. He's saying, yeah, we're going to have Megadeth do Detroit Rock City. And when we talked about it, I said, well, I don't want to do that song. I want to do Strange Ways, because it was Ace's song. And I knew they weren't going to do it because someone said they're not doing any songs unless it was songs they wrote. And I was like, but that sucks. Because I like Strange Ways, even though it wasn't one of their better songs. I loved the guitar solo in it. And you know, you're going to do somebody's cover song. You want to do it because you like it. So, But as far as like what we've got planned for the next year, probably tons of work, a lot of touring. I know Giganto's coming around next year. We're talking about that. We'll talk more about that with you in the future.
Okay.
So, but there's still tons of stuff.
Do you have like a dream lineup for Giganto?
Well, let's see. The last time we looked at the drawing board, one of the guys that was on there was a notorious troublemaker, and I said that I think it would be great to have him on the bill, but most people hate his guts, and he probably would start picking a fight with somebody out here and be thrown off the tour within 30 minutes. And I'm not going to say who he is, but I thought it would be really cool, because I haven't heard from him for a long time.
So it's a process.
Well, the other bands, that we were looking at was Motorhead and Michael Schenker Group, and looking at some East Coast metal, because, honestly, when you think about heavy metal in America, it's usually, more often than not, the West Coast metal scene, because, there's good metal on the East Coast, but, really, there's Anthrax, there's Overkill, there's not really a lot of other bands that I know of from New York that really survived.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We have to cut. You have a meet and greet to go to, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
The Bay Area's rock station, 107.7 The Bone.